At this point, you have learned quite a few different strategies. Now we are going to discuss creating opportunities for your child to communicate using a variety of words. Overall, our goal is for your child to spontaneously communicate, but sometimes we need to offer support so that children learn when they could communicate during play or activities. This encourages your child to use words, phrases, or sentences during similar situations in the future. That is why it is so important to create opportunities for your child to communicate. The planning process may be a bit more involved in this unit compared to the previous units. Feel free to take extra time to review and practice the steps. It is important to know what you want your child to say. This should be based on the goals we discussed and developed together. For example, we may have discussed the importance of teaching your child to describe their actions with an object, like emphasizing roll and ball in a sentence. When playing together, look for a time when your child is engaged and feeling motivated to share wants, interests, and feelings. Think of times when your child may have been motivated to communicate in the past. It may have been during play or switching activities. There are a few things you can do to motivate your child to communicate. First, we can provide the child with a choice. For example, you can hold a car in one hand and an animal in another hand, and then wait for your child to notice. And, if they are interested, respond. The response could be a comment about what you were doing, or they may ask for one of the items, maybe both. We can also provide materials that require support, such as giving your child a container that they will likely need help opening. This may motivate the child to ask for help, or they may comment that the lid is stuck or it is stuck. We can also place an item in view but out of reach, such as putting an item on a shelf that your child cannot reach. This also may motivate your child to comment or ask for help, or to tell a story. There are many possibilities. We can also introduce something unexpected in an activity. For example, you could bring in a large stuffed animal into block play. Your child may be excited, seek your attention to share the moment, or they may even say no. Either way, your child is learning that it is a good time to communicate. Also, don't be afraid to be silly when playing. Being silly is a great way to motivate a child to make a comment like, "You are funny," or a related word, phrase, or sentence. An example of this would be putting a toy on your head and seeing how the child responds. Ways to encourage communication. During dismissal, James puts on his hat and coat. James looks for his hat and sees his teacher standing next to him wearing the hat. This is a great example of incorporating silly play. The teacher puts Brayden's favorite music toy on a shelf. She activates the toy and Brayden reaches for the toy and says, "Play." This is an example of in view but out of reach. The teacher asks Evan, "Do you want goldfish crackers or raisins?" This is an example of offering choices. Kristen's teacher turns a wind-up bunny on a table. Kristen laughs at the toy. When the bunny stops, Kristen gives the toy back to the teacher to wind again. This is an example of help needed. What does this look like? First, we want to make sure your child is playing or deciding about what to play next. As you learned earlier, you should join in and do what they are doing or support them in deciding what to do next. Next, look for a time when your child will be motivated to communicate and use a communication strategy. Then, you will wait up to 5 seconds for your child to respond. You may wonder, why do I need to wait? The waiting allows your child time to notice and process the situation. They don't have to respond or go along with your attempt to promote communication, but let's give them time to, just in case. Now what? During that wait time, which can sometimes feel like forever, a few things may happen. Your child may communicate by pointing or grabbing for an item, by using a word, or they may use sounds such as ooh or ah. Your child may also wait to see what you will do, or they may not be interested at all. Once again, it is so important that we wait. This allows the child to hear, process, and respond. So, how do you respond to your child during this waiting period? Well, that depends on what your child does in those few seconds. If your child verbally communicates, respond by giving them the toy. Respond to their comment, etc. It depends on the strategy that you selected. If your child responds in another way or is waiting but still seems interested, respond the same way as number 1. If your child is not interested, that's okay. Join in the play and try again later. If your child becomes upset at any point, stop and try again later. Remember, right now we are not making the child say anything. We just want to show them when they can communicate. Here is an example of how to offer choices. You can hold up a doll and a baby and show them to your child, and wait for them to notice. Wait for them to try to communicate which one they want, and once they do, maybe they say Baba, for example, you can hand them the baby while saying play with baby or want baby. Make sure to emphasize stressing the words so the child hears all of the sounds. So, what does it look like to create opportunities for communication? We are now going to show you a few video examples of this.
Want more bubbles? Yeah, bus on my head. Want animals?
Thank you for taking the time to watch and listen to Unit 4, Part 1.